Hey there, Instagram. Didn't go live just now on Facebook on Inst. Hey there. Who are you? You're Facebook, and now we're going to go live also on Instagram. Hi, Instagram. Hi, Facebook. It's great to be here with you. That was a weird, rocky start. Sorry about that. Whenever we have mayhem in the design studio, right before we go live, weird things always happen technically. Woo, woo, woo. Anyway, I'm Donna Hoffman, the Interior Design Advocate. We're on a mission here at the Interior Design Advocate. My whole team and I, we're on a mission to erase ugly rooms, put you in the driver's seat, and make sure that you are getting the kind of results you want. We're trying to put an end to analysis paralysis. We're trying to put an end to just not knowing what your next move is. So, wrong Instagram account. Okay, there you go. I'm going to end this Instagram account. I'm going to hand this to, sorry, wrong Instagram account. Getting out of here. Handing this to Katie. There we go, Katie. Why don't you go do your thing? Anyway, back to you, Facebookers. Oh my gosh. So what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about how to be wise when you are shopping for furniture. A lot to tell you today, and if you have a question about shopping for furniture, or you're going to be doing some shopping soon, feel free to type in your question. I'll be taking them live. Once I sign off of this live, I won't be coming back in to answer your questions. And we're here every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I teach a little lesson, and then I take your questions about whatever it is that is the topic at hand. I do want to give a quick shout out to Lisa Quayle. I ran into Lisa yesterday at the Philadelphia Design Center. I was working, I was asking some people in a showroom, hey, where are my memos? Memos are what designers call our samples. And then I went back to the table where I was working. I had rug samples and fabric out, and a lovely person bent in and said, excuse me, you Donna Hoffman? And I looked up teasingly and I said, that depends on who's asking. And then Lisa introduced herself to me, said, I use your design CPR product, and I use your Decorating Genius System product, and it's really helping her. She's a professional designer, but it's really helping her with her clients. I gave her a big hug. First half of my hug was for Lisa. I think the second half of that big bear hug I gave her was for all of you, because I wish I could hug all of you in person as well. And I hope one day we'll have that opportunity. We're looking into some things possibly for 2018, but I'll keep you posted. So, furniture. What do you have to know to be wise in furniture? Well, first, something that I teach all of my students always, and Katie, if you want to hand that back to me when you're ready, that's totally fine. If your hands come in the shot, that's fine. Something you have to know when it comes to purchasing furniture is that you've got to measure twice, cut once. That means working in a hurry, not good. It's so easy. Thank you, Katie. It's so easy to, just adjusting my shot there. It's so easy. Hey there, Instagram, talking about furniture. Sorry about that wacky, weird start we had. We're talking about how to be a wise furniture consumer. And a lot going on right now. So we were saying just now that you've got to measure twice, cut once, right? When you work fast, it is so easy in a catalog to pick up the wrong number. You can look at a width and mistake it for a depth, or mistake a depth for a height as stated on a chair. I even did that recently, and it would have ruined what I was working on, literally not fit. Thank heavens we have enough stop gaps built in here that we check ourselves before we actually present, or in your case, before you actually purchase. So you got to measure twice, cut once. You want to really go back in and review everything you think is the right measurement. Go back in and check it. Not only do I want you to check the stats that you're picking up in a catalog or in a store, if you're looking at their catalog, maybe you're ordering something that's not on the floor. But I want you to walk through your home and figure out what are the problems on delivery day. You've got to measure the entry points into your home, yes, into a room. And if maybe you live on a second-story walk-up in New York, and you've got a really tight 90-degree turn at the top of the stairs to get into your apartment, or maybe you're furnishing I don't know, a basement media room, family room kind of integrated space, and you want a big sectional sofa. Well, those pieces are big and bulky. You've got to think about, well, how tall is the hard back of that sofa before the cushions extend beyond it? And will it turn at the bottom of the stairs before I get it into my basement? So it's not just about measuring to make sure things fit in the room. It's also about making sure things will get into the location that you want. Certainly when we take in a new project, my team and I are out there measuring for space plan purposes, but we're also looking at the entry points into the room. I'm not going to tell you that you have to do a measured space plan, because if you are one of my students, you already know you have got to do measured space plans. Period, end of story. Or as I like to say, she who is responsible for making sure everything fits and looks gorgeous on delivery day must do a measured space plan. Because once it's delivered, you own it. And the furniture store does not want to hear, or the online store, or the online retailer, or the cataloger does not want to hear, oh, sorry, it didn't fit. All right, so measure twice, cut once, which is actually a sewing thing, a sewing adage, which I never paid attention to, which is probably why I got thrown out of a sewing shop, yes, when I was in grad school, but that's a story for another day. I like designing it, I don't like building it. But anyway, so the other thing that you have to know to stay smart when you're shopping for furniture in today's furniture world, and I love furniture manufacturers and I love stores, but buyer be aware. Not buyer beware, buyer be aware. You cannot assume just because you have seen a furniture brand around a lot that you will like the way their upholstery works, or just because you have liked their case goods, their wood furniture, that you will also like their, their upholstered items. Just had one of my students in one of my private Facebook groups talk about a manufacturer, and she said, I don't understand it. The sofa that we purchased with them a year ago looks terrible. And I said, did you Google the manufacturer to see if there are any complaints about them? That's the trick. You've got to Google it. And sure enough, she went back, she Googled, and she said, oh my gosh, I have been purchasing their wood furniture and it's been beautiful and I've loved it, but I just found a ton of complaints about their upholstered furniture. So before you plunk your dollars down, if you have access to the manufacturer brand or cataloger, of course you know the name of the cataloger, of course an online retailer, Google complaints against so-and-so's sofas, complaints against so-and-so's dressers or wood furniture. So you've got to do that kind of checking, because furniture is expensive to manufacture, it's expensive to ship. And manufacturers and stores are for-profit organizations, so they're always looking to, how can I deliver what I need to deliver to our consumer, but also how can we protect our profit margin? And as costs go up to manufacturers, they're trying to hold their prices steady to the consumer market, to you, the customer, but then they have to worry about, absorbing these cost increases they're getting, and they just can't do it. After a while, they have to raise their prices. So sometimes you can start to see quality start to go down in order for them to protect a certain or keep a certain price point. So you have to Google. And I'm going to tell you something else. And by the way, if you have a question about purchasing furniture, you're going to be purchasing furniture soon, feel free to type it in. I'm glad to, I don't know, I'm talking with my hands so much today. I'm doing like a little puppet show with my fingers. Feel free to type it in and I will answer your question and do my best to get to as many of your questions as possible. Something else you've got to think about in today's environment when you're shopping for furniture. If you are shopping with a local store, I don't care if this is like the store in your area. I don't care if it's a store your mother shopped at. I don't care if it's a store you've been shopping at for 20 years or 10 years. You have to Google complaints about that store before you purchase from them. Things change, businesses change, personnel change, owners change, but the name doesn't. We had a nightmare story happen with a lovely client who was very pregnant, and we sent her to the store in Philadelphia for beautiful children's furniture. So we thought, well, it was a nightmare. And this store is a family owned and operated, been in business a gajillion years. It was a mess. And the client not only wasn't getting her furniture until PS after the baby came, yes, thank you very much, they lied about back orders. We suspected ultimately that they were taking customer A's money and ordering customer B's merchandise because they had a cash flow problem. We were dying, and we went online and we just, as a what the hey, we Googled complaints against so-and-so's furniture store. Oh my gosh, what came up? You'll never get your merchandise. They don't answer their phone. Correct. Their phone is always saying messages full. It was a mess. Everything we saw online is exactly what we discovered. So 12 years ago when that happened to us, who do you think the client was angry at? Us or the store? Well, both, but pretty much us for recommending that store. So that's when we developed this trick to Google anybody in the furniture world before you do business with them, okay? So last thing I want to tell you about, if you are thinking of purchasing furniture, and by the way, if you have a question about furniture purchasing, feel free to type in your question so I can answer it before it's time for me to wrap out. But the last thing I will tell you that, and there's no editorial here, I'm just telling it to you like it is. All the trade papers that I'm getting every day, all the emails I'm getting every day, that Sandy, my project manager, is getting, that Katie, one of my designers, is getting every day, multiple emails into our email inboxes from manufacturers, furniture, rugs, lighting, accessories, case goods, wood furniture, upholstered furniture. It's normal for furniture manufacturers to post increases. People have rising costs for doing business, so they increase their prices. And we'll see, 3 to 5% pricing increases come down the pike. Because of the tariff situation that's happening, we just saw a bunch of increases come through in the 7 to 10% range. Some manufacturers have said they're going to try to hold their current inventory prices where they are, and then new inventory that's coming in before year end will have that 7 to 10% increase. And a lot of rhetoric about a 25% tariff that is expected on furniture, rugs, etc. And the furniture world is trying to figure out how to handle this and how to protect the consumer. And most of them are saying, we can't, there are going to be some big increases. So I just saw a huge catalog come across from Restoration Hardware, the beautiful catalog they sent out. That's an expensive catalog to put out, so I hope you like that catalog when it arrives. But I opened the page to one of their sofas that has a starting at price of, it's like $2,900 and change, let's call it $3,000, a 25% tariff increase in pricing, that's suddenly a $3,600 sofa. So why am I telling you this, to be Chicken Little? No, I'm just saying, if you're thinking you might want to do some furniture purchasing, you might want to talk to the hubs and say, you know what, let's get our furniture purchasing on order now before year end as opposed to after January 1. Worst case scenario, you have to shop after the new year, and there are big price hikes happening in rugs and furniture and carpets and so forth. Either you can go downstairs in terms of your price and therefore quality, so you can still purchase as much, or you'll just pace your project and purchase a little bit less and spread it out. But I just wanted to give you that as a heads up, just to be aware that my industry is reeling right now about price increases. So we just had one, 7 to 10%, and an additional price increase could be happening after the first of the year. Okay, so I see there are questions coming in based upon my high-tech notes from Katie. Questions coming in. Thank you, Katie, for the note. Hello to everybody. I'm getting all these waves and smiles and happy faces. Thank you, thank you. Okay, Linda wants to know, are the furniture protection plans that are always offered worth the additional investment? Linda, that's a great question. In the luxury design world where I, live and practice, no manufacturer will give a real warranty on furniture. Kravet, fabulous manufacturer, they will warranty a sofa frame for the lifetime of the original owner. Wow. But not the fabric. If you have a family that is hard on furniture, if you've got pets and kids, you may want to invest in a furniture protection plan, but read the fine print. What is protected and for how long? Most upholstery manufacturers will not warranty fabric at all because they think, hey, that's on you. You've got to make sure that you are using that sofa properly. So I agree with that entirely. I agree with it. I also see that there can be mishaps on a piece of furniture. However, that type of product defect will show itself within usually a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, not 9 months after you've had it. Usually, are there exceptions to every rule? Yes. So Lisa, I would look at what the what the fine print is, either from the manufacturer or the store. It looks to me like this is from a retailer. What you're asking for it, because it's an additional investment you can make, and then I would go from there. I would, if you're not sensitive to fumes, I would pay to have lighter fabrics, Scotch guarded or protected for staining. That does help, but again, it's fabric on a sofa. It doesn't want red wine or orange soda spilled on it. You know, that just is what it is. Oh, and Linda, I think I called you Lisa. Sorry, Linda. Wood furniture. Almost all manufacturers are like, hey, 3 months, that's all I'm giving you. Why? Because if you slide anything on wood, you will scratch that wood. Even if you are dusting after not dusting for a long period of time and you're really, you know, smooching that rag heavily on a high sheen, you can definitely start to create over time little micro, what am I called? Micro dents or scrapes and things, and that's what'll show up over time. So, God, that was a long-winded answer. I am sorry, Linda. I hope I helped you. Kimberly Lovett wants to know, what do I need to know about getting used items reupholstered? Here's what I would tell you. Oh, and also you're saying, Kimberly, you have some dining chairs that are high quality but need new cushions. Oh, easy peasy. That's like the easiest thing to reupholster and the lowest cost thing to reupholster. It's just, you know, half a yard of fabric usually if it's just a seat. You want to make sure the frame is in really good condition, but a good upholsterer can definitely reinforce a frame. So if your chairs are creaking, there could be something that needs to be re-glued a little bit or tightened up. So they will charge you extra, of course, to tighten up your frames, but a good upholsterer should look to do that, to suggest that to you. They will examine your furniture and say, okay, this is what needs to happen. You know, I'm going to rebuild the cushion, or I'm just going to use what you have and fluff it up a little bit, and I've got to tighten your frame. So I would Google about the reupholstery shop that you're looking to use and see if there are any complaints about, you know, J&R upholstery, reupholstering, and see what comes up there. And be very clear with the upholstery group. You know, what's the deliverable? How long from the time you receive the fabric until I get my chairs done? From the time you pick them up to the time they come back to me. So hopefully those will help you. And then when you're looking at the fabric itself, make sure that you are putting something on those chairs that is appropriate to that location in terms of durability and wearability. Okay, Madeline wants to know, is an $800 sofa a good investment? Madeline, if your budget is such that you can only do an $800 sofa, then you do it. But I want you to Google complaints about the manufacturer or the store where you're looking to buy that sofa. Because in truth, an $800 sofa is not going to be built with the same level of workmanship and quality of materials, foam, wood lengths, dried down woods that you see in a sofa that's 2, 3, and 4 times the price. If there's any place you can put your dollars, it would be into that high use sofa. So you buy it once, not having to replace it every 2 years or 3 years because the cushions are smushing and sagging. However, Madeline, if it's going into a living room that's really more a look but don't touch room, do an $800 sofa that's not going to get sat in a lot. But if it's a heavy use item, I would sooner see you take your chair budget and put that into your sofa as well, and delay the chairs and try to get as good a quality sofa as you possibly can. Unfortunately, furniture, like I said earlier, it's a lot more expensive to produce and deliver and ship than anyone thinks it should or wants it to, but it's just costly stuff. So I hope I helped you there. Kathy, you're writing me a long question. Let's see. What kind of furniture pieces can I bring into a dining room that is heavy on wood? Wood tables, chairs, buffet, antique china cabinet. I get rid of the antique china cabinet just to update a little bit right there. Will painted furniture be a fad that passes? No. Listen, painted furniture, my gosh. No, I don't think, I mean, that is a historical, beautiful thing that happened. You know, I was just over in Paris and saw some gorgeous Napoleon I Directoire chairs that were in their original gorgeous whitewashed finish. They were breathtaking. So I would certainly think that you could do some painted furniture in that room, Kathy, to lighten things up a little bit. You can also remove the china hutch and just if you have a piece that's a two-piece sideboard with a china hutch over the top, you can remove the china hutch, do a beautiful mirror above to help update that as well. Okay, Lauren, which fabrics, interior stuffing should I look for or avoid when buying a sofa? I see a lot that look nice at first, but then sagging on the seat and the stuffing doesn't stay in place. How can you tell if a couch or upholstered chair is quality? Lauren, price. That's probably one of the biggest things that you can use to tell if something's going to perform well. An $800 sofa, pretty strong odds that it's going to start to sag and look pretty dog-eared, probably in a year and a half. You want high density foam. You want as high, and there are different grades of high density foam. And if you can afford in your budget to do spring with a foam wrapping, so the inside of the cushion literally has a spring, so it'll go boing when you get back up off of it. Because guys, all you and I are to sofas, we are load. And sofas look at how to disperse load, to disperse that weight so the frame isn't taking it all in one shot. So what I would say to you is go for price. $1,000 sofa, not going to perform the way a $2,000 sofa is. If you can do that $3,000 sofa, you're probably going to get even better performance. Is there a huge difference? I've seen articles. Is there a huge difference between a $1,500 and $2,200 sofa? No, but I think there's a big difference between a $2,000 sofa performance and a $1,000 or $800 sofa. You just cannot. There's no such thing as getting something for less. You get something less for less. And that's the big takeaway for all furniture consumers, no matter what you're buying. If you think you're getting a real deal, you better think twice about, does this make sense? Why is this item so much lower cost than everything else I've seen? Unless it's a discontinue or something. So hopefully that helps you. It's easy to make, Lauren, a sofa that looks good on delivery day. It's more costly to make that sofa that's going to look good a year from. And in terms of sofas sagging and stuffing that doesn't stay in place, again, that's usually a lower quality manufacturer, which is also using a lower quality fabric that's stretching or maybe not appropriate for that sofa in the first place. And Lauren, Google complaints about whatever manufacturer or retailer you're looking to use. And don't do a general Google. Don't say complaints about XYZ online retailer. Instead, complaints about XYZ's sofas or XYZ's upholstered chairs, and see what comes up. Getting hellos from people. Maureen wants to know, I work for a flooring furniture store, and the increases are taking place now. We're seeing 7 to 12%. I know, Maureen. I am telling you, I'm like taking out the smelling salt sometimes when I see 3 and 4 emails coming into my inbox a day from well-known and well-loved by you guys, furniture resources and rug resources. I know they're well-loved because they're populating all the stores and all the catalogers and all the internet resources you're using. So, that's why I was saying, if you're thinking of doing something, you may want to do it now instead of after the first of the year, because more increases. But Maureen, I will say this: I have seen emails coming across too, where a number of manufacturers are trying to protect their current pricing and stores current pricing on existing inventory until that inventory runs down. So some of them think that they won't put, some pricing increases have gone in right now, period, end of story. But some are saying in 30 days or in 60 days. But 7 to 12% in flooring and furniture where you're working. Okay. Let's see. Last question. I'm told I don't have a ton of time for more questions. How many okay, Margaret. Ooh, Margaret, good question. How many double rubs do you consider decent for a sofa that will be used daily? I don't like to do anything less than 30,000 to 35,000 double rubs, and that'll keep you A-okay, Margaret. Navneet is saying, is it worth the money to get sofas upholstered, reupholstered? Yes, if you have a costly, a well done sofa, a well-made sofa, it's a frame that is built like a tank. it was maybe a designer sofa or a to the trade sofa or a best quality manufacturer sofa, yes, reupholstering those frames is always less expensive than, or less costly than replacing them. You know, a replace on a sofa where in the world where I practice is a $5,000 sofa or more, or a $7,000 sofa. Whereas if you control yourself on the fabric, you might be able to reupholster it for $2,500 or, you know, $2,200, depending upon the fabric. A sofa is going to suck up about between, on average, let's say 22 yards of fabric, unless you're tufting, and that'll take more fabric from you. But if you just look at, you know, a fabric can be $35 a yard, it can be $350 a yard. So are you going to go bananas on your sofa yardage? That will also drive up that price on the upholstery. But I think you can get some really good upholstered fabrics in that $50, $60, $80 a yard kind of price. And again, there's some good ones in that $45 to $50 price point that I think really perform well. I'm talking retail prices. So hopefully that helps you. Katie keeps telling me, that wrong Instagram, that's an old note. Am I still on the wrong Instagram?
No.
Are you the wrong Instagram? No. The final two questions. Okay, I think I already said that, but okay, here we go. Last one from Margaret. Naveed, you're asking me about Broyhill. Baby, I am not naming names. Definitely not in a public group like this. Are you kidding me? I do not want to be sued. So, Toots, I'm not going to talk to you about a particular manufacturer, whether I endorse them or not. That's for you to Google. You know how to do it now, Naveed. You're going to Google complaints against whatever your manufacturer is and see how that goes. Margaret is asking, is 8-way hand tied something you should still look for? I like it. Now, there are some really good sinuous curve springs. It's a one big mechanism that gets dropped in instead of 8-way hand tied. But if you don't want to know what the Pinterest rooms that you're loving are filled with, that's mostly 8-way hand tied. Now, that said, that's on the seat deck. When you have a hardback sofa, Margaret, very often that's just a spring, a mechanism spring back. But if you're asking me what I love an 8-way hand tied. I mean, but if the budget does not support 8-way hand tied, then go for the very best in sinuous curve spring with the best foam that you can afford. And again, Google how that manufacturer or store's items are performing. That's the best advice I can ever give anybody, because I told you my sad little story about that awful store in Philadelphia that screwed my client and made me not sleep at night for months and months and months, because the client ultimately was throwing darts at my picture, I'm sure, because I'm the one who recommended that to her. Anyway, kicking myself still. Okay, lovelies, listen, we've got a dash. We've got more work to do here at the studio. Great questions. If you think that this is a topic we should cover again at some point, glad to do that so I can take more of your questions. Next week at 4 p.m. Eastern, we will be back here for another Facebook Live, and I hope you'll join us because we're talking about the common confusions with millwork and molding. Oh yeah, I see the questions coming in. So we're going to do a quick lesson on millwork and molding, and you can ask your questions about those 4 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday. And please, if you like this video, please share us on Instagram. I don't know, can you share on Instagram? No, just send us a kiss on Instagram. But you people out there on Facebook, if you like this video, please share us so that we can get the word out on the Interior Design Advocate. We love being able to help as many design lovers and women just like you to get the gorgeous rooms and homes that we want you to have, that you love to have, and that you deserve. And also, if you're not already following us on Instagram, please do so at decorating.genius, @decorating.genius. Okay, lovelies. Wow, I need a drink right now. I think I need some herbal tea. This was a crazy live. Lots of problems. Sorry, Instagram. Sorry, Facebook, but we did it. Hugs to everybody, and we will see you next week, 4 p.m. Eastern here, Tuesday, talking about millwork and the common confusions and problems. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.